proud of our fans with the turnout we had Saturday. I think with the word spreading that we're not having a spring game, and with all that sort of went on in the last couple of weeks, I still thought we had an incredible turnout. The day was beautiful. I thought it ended up being really a positive note. Even everybody that was there said that they really liked the format. It was different. They got to see our guys in some one-on-one situations, a little more than they would have done, obviously, if it had been just a scrimmage. If you go back and look at the scrimmage, I thought, or the practice, I guess you would call it, I thought some guys did really well. I thought Al Rouse looked really good in the one-on-one situations. I really think he's going to be a guy that is really going to step in and pick right up where Daryl Surgeon left off. And I think he will even bring a few more things to the table. One of those being a physical blocker at the point of attack, because he's a much more physical player. I think also he'll be a good kick returner. Another receiver that I thought had a really good day is C.J. Bates. I think he could get to the point after a full summer and after 29 more practices to where he could just be in a natural rotation with Jamal and James, and we may get to the point where we're not worried about who is on the field with those guys. I think he's really going to be a good player. He's got three years remaining. That's a +2. You know, if you go back and look at some of the other guys that we found that we think will contribute that did not really contribute last year, Dominic Jones had a solid spring. He is going to help us this year. And then Antoine Atkins had a solid spring. The transfer that we moved from receiver to corner. He will be definitely in the defensive back rotation. So we're much deeper there than I think that we have been. A few spots probably left to answer as we go into fall camp. One of them, probably most notably at the linebacker position. I think Chris Hill has nailed down one of those spots. We probably leave spring football with the other spot still up in the air between Trey Grenier, Trey Johnson, and Kevin Fuquay and Tower Alexander. But the plus to that, though, is we've got about 4 guys that all can play, so we've got depth. They'll come back and pound it out this spring. Kicking-wise, I thought that ended up being pretty entertaining. They both, I think, were 4 for 5. With Stover's only miss being from 60 when he hit the crossbar, so he was very accurate, to say the least, all day long. And I think he goes into fall camp with a slight edge, but they will continue competing once we get to fall camp. But I was pretty pleased with that. I thought the defensive line showed a lot of improvement this spring. I think we've got more depth. Jacoby Briscoe, if he can get himself into football shape, I think it's a guy that will really help us. I think he will be tough in this league. He's really physical at the point of attack, and so we're anxious to get him in a lot better playing shape so he can play more plays than what he's able to do this spring. Just not there yet physically, but has the tools to be an exceptional player here. And I think the rest of the D-line, I think we've got more D-line depth than we've had ever since we've been here. So that part's exciting. Now moving forward, we got a week, then we're off for spring break, then our kids will come back for 2 weeks, and then exams, and then they'll be off for 3.5 weeks in May. And then we'll come back June the 4th to start our summer all-season program, which we call our third quarter. And it'll be exciting this year because now the coaching staffs will be able to watch the workouts. We'll be able to watch the lifts, we'll be able to watch the throwing, the one-on-one, the pass Kelly, where in the past NCAA rules even prohibited coaches from even watching out the window. So totally different format for the first time this year in college football, that full-time coaches are able to observe summer conditioning and summer workouts. So that will be a big plus, and also it allows us to be around our players. That's the thing you hate about the summers. The NCAA handicapped you about not being around your players enough. This will allow us to put our hands on them, win much more, and especially get to know those freshmen where you really just didn't get to see them as much. And so that's going to be a huge plus. I think that was a good move. So excited the way the spring turned out. We'd love to scrimmage more like we've talked about, but on the plus end, we didn't lose one player to any type of season-ending injury. So we're very blessed there. Should come into fall camp with a lot of depth. So with that, open up any questions.
Alonzo Harris, how much did just increasing his body a little bit, how can that go a long way toward next season? How would you kind of summarize his spring?
He was asking about Alonzo Harris and the way his body's developed. You know, he is even since last year probably added about 5 to 10 pounds of muscle. He is very physical, strong. He's one of those guys that you get tired of tackling as the game goes on, and that's why, you know, some people talk about some backs get better as the game goes on. Well, to be honest with you, it's because the defense gets worn out as the game goes on, because they get tired of tackling a 245-pound back, and so I think also it will help in his durability, although he really hasn't had a lot of durability problems, but he'll continue to be more durable.
Coach, obviously, you wanted to see what would happen at the center position. Terry went down, kind of put a cog in your plans. You added another young man to the program since then. So talk a little bit about that competition, because that's an important position starting fall, and maybe you're gonna have to look at some guys there.
Well, like I said, on the defense side of the ball, one question was we didn't really answer one of the linebacker spots. The other question, if you had one on offense, is really have not answered the center spot. So when we come into camp, Terry Johnson will start off at left guard, his natural spot, day one, and Grant Horst and Eddie Gordon, the junior college transfer from Hutchinson, will compete for the starting center position, although Terry has the ability to move over to play center also. So right there, we feel like we have 3 centers coming in. But we're hoping that Grant and Eddie will be able to battle it out for the 1 and 2 spot, and Terry then is your emergency or your third center. And then we have some freshmen coming in, very talented too, but hopefully we can get it done with those 3. And I think we'll be able to. The summer will be critical for those guys' development as they continue moving forward.
What about your deep snapper?
Deep snapper, we feel like we're okay. We believe we've left Jacob Gendry at the deep snapper position. So we are not. That'll be fine. He's been really solid. He's been really good. I think we're going to be in great shape there. Stephen Morella will take the short snaps. That way, Jacob Guidry can still hold for field goals, and we don't have to change up the timing between our kicker and our holder and start over there. So we'll go into the game with 2 snappers, and that'll be a plus, because if something ever happened to Jacob Guidry, Morella would have been in the game short snapping, and then he, much easily would be ready for game action if he had to go in and do some deep snapping. So we've got 2 really good snappers that I think are going to be really solid.
At tight end, do you think it's going to be multiple guys moving in, or do you think maybe you have one guy who can carry more of a load this year?
That's one position I really like too, talking about the tight ends and who can carry the load. I really like Larry Pettis. He is a very physical, big, strong point of attack guy. He is our starter, but I'm going to tell you, Matt Barnes has really came in and showed that he can be a dynamic pass receiver down the field. We could even utilize him, not really at the H position, but we would call him the U when he's in the game, and I don't think we would drop off very much. I think he is a dual threat tight end that's big enough to block at the point of attack and then spread him out. He really reminds me of the running ability and catching ability of Ladarius. Not quite as tall, but still going to be very effective in the future. And think about it, we got him for 4 more years. And the other tight ends ought to be good too. Nick Byrne will be in the rotation. He will play an awful lot. He understands the game, and he is also good at both phases too. And Evan Tadford had a solid spring too. So I think we've got quality depth there at the tight end spot.
We've talked a lot about the other receivers, but for Jamal, is there evidence you see kind of leading to him being more consistent this year, maybe being that star type guy that he can be?
Last year he really showed some flashes of being that star type player, like the catch at Akron and some other catches he's had. The consistency part, I think he's worked on that, and he's really turned into a very good practice player too. I talked to him before the start of the spring. I wanted him to emulate Javon Lawson. He was the best practice player we've ever had here, and that's why he became a good player. And so he has improved. I think he'll be way more consistent, and I still think he'll be that guy you dial up when you need a big play, because he's got a lot to him.
Any further questions?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.